Today we're taking a look at what came in Judges Guild Installment U, the Holiday Edition, from December of 1978. Please stick around. I'm AZ Mountaineer, and this is our channel, Old School Rules, where we celebrate the community of old school gamers and grognards who like classic RPGs, miniatures, magazines, and everything that came with it. Today's video continues our look at the products of Judges Guild, their bi-monthly installment that was sent to subscribers. This is the December 1978, January 1979 mailing. It included just an apology for the lateness and the lack of other content, and this holiday edition of the Judges Guild Journal. It's packed full of competition dungeon submissions that they receive from their subscribers, and is a really fun product. Hope you enjoyed the video. As I mentioned, there's not nearly as much material this time around, although they make up for it with this gigantic Judges Guild Journal. It's I think like 40 pages. The Judges Guild Journal is now no longer the newspaper that we're used to seeing, right? It is this module-sized or magazine-sized product. It's got a slick, glossy cover, but still has the newspaper quality paper, very thin, very inexpensive paper in the interior. It comes out the end of 1978. Bob Bledsoe, principally responsible for this stuff, but now Chuck Anshel has joined the Judges Guild team. And he's got primary responsibility for these publications, both this, and he also brings over the fanzine, now magazine, called The Dungeoneer. If you purchase this outside of the subscription, this was a $2 item. And again, all you got was the journal, and which is number 77 on the booty list, and their apology. Their apology is basically says to the members, we're sorry this is late. We're going to have this product called Dragon Crown, which comes separately later. It got lost in the U.S. mail, so unfortunately this is all you're going to get. We'll make up for it, next time. Here's the cover. It's by someone they just call BUZ, so I don't really know who that is. It's really sort of a little bit of an impressionistic piece of art. It's got some funk. It looks like a magic user. It's got some funky stuff he's making in the sky. There's another magic user, spirit, way up at the top who sort of looks like they're doing some fire. And then there's a guy off to the right-hand side who looks like maybe he is sculpting something out of the earth or maybe conjuring something. I'm not really sure. It's pretty cool. There's a slightly larger view of the artwork. And then here's what you're going to get this issue. Remember, they had a dungeon contest previously. They kind of admit they mucked up the instructions and did not really get what they thought they were going to get from folks. But they're muddling through and doing the best they can. They're going to have another contest with lessons learned. So they announce their winners. They share those dungeons with you. Janelle Jaquays has joined the staff as an artist and designer. More to come on that in just a minute. And they've added other people and other things they're going to be doing as well. They continue their little byline here, right? Dedicated to swords and sorcery, fantasy gaming. The first thing they mention here right on page 1 is the addition of new folks. We've got Jaquays coming in, new staff member. Remember, Janelle Jaquays did the Dungeoneer fanzine 1 through 6 before transferring that over to Chuck Anshel, who produces 7 and 8 and then brings it in-house with Judges Guild when Chuck joins them. Mitchell Johnson has a background in printing and graphic arts, and he's going to do a number of things for them. Pat Petrowski says not really someone who knows a lot about gaming, but will help you with all the mail order products. And I think they were adding people because they just got a lot of requests for products. Because remember, they sold not only Judges Guild products, but TSR products, other games, and miniatures. And we'll see some of the ads here in a minute for the different things that's available. And finally, Penny Gooding, who is going to handle a lot of the office work, keeping track of records and submissions and subscriptions and payments and things like that. They also announced they're very excited that they got a new computer, a TRS-80, which I believe they said had 32K RAM, which was pretty exciting at the time. You'll see here in the top, the table of contents. It lists basically, if you sent in submissions for this competition, they put all your stuff together. So they ask for levels 1 through 6, level 1 being easiest, 6 being the hardest. Some people only sent in, like this first person, levels 2 and 3 of a dungeon. No level 1, no levels 4, 5, and 6. Next person 3 to 6. Another person sent in levels 1 and 5, but not levels 2 through 4. I have no idea sort of what they thought they were trying to do or what these people were trying to do, but they just got some random levels. But they put them all in here. And like I said, this one comes in at 64 pages. And just a very small amount of that is advertising. Almost all of that is content. So if you want some interesting amateur dungeons, this is a great product to go out and buy. This is not expensive. You can grab this on an auction site pretty much any day you want. You know, you can pay anywhere from $5 to $15, maybe $25 for a copy of this. And the content's just a lot of fun to read through. The other person besides this BUZ who gets some art credit is actually Chuck himself. And what he says is that this was a line drawing by, I think his name is Aaron Arocchio. He was a artist who did some stuff in the Dungeoneer towards the end of Jaquay's run. And he did a line drawing, and then Chuck goes and paints on it to make the back cover. So that's interesting. They say here that most of their articles, their sort of regular type articles, are gone this issue because they've got so much content in terms of these dungeons. So all we really get is the Jocular Judgment article. Chuck introduces himself and mentions that he's come over here from his own sort of private enterprise to become part of the Judges Guild team. He's brought the Dungeoneer with him. He'll be responsible for that. He'll be responsible for the Judges Guild Journal and a number of other things that he's going to help out with. The thing that I think is particularly interesting, so he talks a lot about how they sort of messed up this dungeon contest and people read it differently than what they'd intended, I guess. But at the end of the day, they judged them and they gave out prizes. We'll mention those here in a second. I think historically the really exciting thing is that Jaquay's has joined, and they announced that the first adventure that Jaquay's has put together here for them is called the Dark Tower. It's super well known historically in the sort of canon of D&D adventures. It's really, really good. The other one that Jaquay's does called the Caverns of Thracia, also fantastic. Those are just like top 10 classic D&D modules from the 70s in my view. But in any event, they announced that's coming out. They also announced that if you're getting the Dungeoneer, then you're going to get some Jaquay's smaller adventure in that coming in the months ahead. And they explain the way this works now is 1 month you could get the Dungeoneer, the next month you'll get the journal. So every month you could be, if you're paying for both, you could be getting mailings from them with new content. All right, so here's our dungeon contest. And you'll see what they've done here, levels 1 through 6. First prize got a $40 credit in Judges Guild products. Second place, $30. Third place, $20. Honorable mention, nothing but your name on this piece of paper. You'll notice, obviously, that some people won awards for different levels that they sent in. And they had some ties as well. And so they gave out a decent number of prizes. And not to be dissuaded by their mistakes, they announced they're having another contest immediately. And this is the world's son of the world's first and greatest dungeon creation contest. New and improved rules, they think. And they mentioned that a couple people sent in stuff that was so big that it wasn't appropriate for this, but they've been trying to get those people to sign agreements so the Judges Guild could full out produce their dungeon as a regular published product. No mention of who that was here. And they also say that the stuff that you send in for the new contest, that's all property of Judges Guild, and they will have the right to use that either in a few pages like you'll see here in a minute, or they can take your dungeon and full-fledged produce it as a Judges Guild product. So when you submit to the competition, you're agreeing that Judges Guild can use your material. Okay. And here, just in case for historical purposes you're curious, here are the names of the people whose levels won different prizes in this. And what they do is they put, for example, Kevin put all his levels here, and the next guy, all his levels, together. And the quality, in my view, of these varies a lot. Here's his second level dungeon. This one I like quite a bit. Here's his third level dungeon, and you can see there he's got, back up, you can see there's a decent amount of text and information in here, right? So these are pretty well done. I think they hold together decently well. Here's the next guy who starts off on level 3. He's got a little poems you could read there at the beginning. You see his is a little thinner here, and he's got several levels. They don't really hold together in my view, meaning you tend to just get some really random one monster after another just in room after room. In these, here's his 5th level. And then finally, here's his 6th level dungeon. Again, pretty thin. I'm not sure from looking at this whether these dungeon levels even connect. Like, I couldn't find anything that connects the prior level 5 to this level 6. Like, there's no stairs, slides, or any way to connect. So I couldn't even understand if this guy thought he was sitting in like an actual multi-layered dungeon, or just here's some, dungeon ideas I have at different levels of difficulty. But in any event, they thought they were okay. Here's our next guy. He starts off in 1st level, and I thought his, here kind of thin, but all right. And I thought this level looked like it was pretty decent. Again, next level, very, very thin, right? One of the things I noticed that I liked pretty well about this was a decent amount of like rooms that basically are empty or no monsters in it, which is good because you wouldn't expect that to be in every level, right? You also notice here on the sides, they're, for the most part, recycling some art that's been in prior Judges Guild products. Here we go to level 3. This guy's, at least, I think, from what I could see, I think these are tying together. So at least he's given you a full-fledged dungeon that you could use. Okay. We get this one. It's a little wonky in the middle. And then we get this one, which is his catacombs, which is an interesting idea. I mean, just look at this. There are these square rooms, right, share a common wall, and you just walk up and down the row and open doors. There's probably 80 some rooms. I could do the math, I guess. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so there's like 100 and some rooms here. It's okay. It's, for me, I think it would get a little boring also because it's just like you open the door and there's a monster just like hanging out for time and eternity, waiting for your party to come along and open that door, right? And they're not all undead, so who knows what that monster's been doing in there for the last several months before you showed up. And here is level 6, and you gotta like this one. We've got Demogorgon is down here, some Balrogs, some dragons. It's pretty small in terms of the map. There's not very many rooms, but it is chock full of things that are ready to kill you. But that certainly the Demogorgon Demon Prince caught my eye as an opponent here you might face in his level 6 dungeon. Next we have this guy named Jay Miller. He starts off with level 1. It's kind of a funky looking dungeon, right? So at least there's some creativity. That reminds me of that game Galaxia I played when I was a kid. And he just jumps straight to level 5. Who knows what happened to levels 2 through 4. But here's just another random one of his. This one just swarming mostly with undead. It's a little bit funky. It certainly makes you appreciate people like Jaquays, though, who I think are just masterful in their creation of dungeons. All right, our next guy starts off on level 3. Again, this sort of random thing where these don't necessarily connect, or you're not really sure that these are even part of contiguous dungeons in their home campaign, but here you go. Here's this one, and then we've got another one, again, very sparse. Notice the descriptions, almost all these very, very sparse, just basically the name of a monster and its stats. This one's kind of crazy, just certainly does remind me of the kind of stuff I did when I was a kid, where you just pack room on top of room like that. But, that's how we played back in the day, and that was a nice part about this for me. It's very nostalgic. These are not great dungeons, but these certainly remind me a lot of the dungeons I did when I was a kid. All right, and finally, this one's just a little cleaner looking drawing, and as he says, this level is a huge storeroom for monsters. They're all just held in here behind force fields waiting for you to come along and meet them. And there's a bigger picture of his map. And he's got another level, and look at this. I mean, his description here, he's got the laboratory, and everything's just a letter. He doesn't even give you the stats. You got to look this up in the monster manual. Very, very sparse dungeon description that he provides. And here's his 3rd level. Again, I do like the fact that these are clearly homemade. They're short and sweet and just sort of random. Not fantastic. And so it's nice to see that, there's definitely something to be said for the professional who comes along and puts some real thought. Look at this one, pretty darn simple, 4 rooms. And if you back up here, look at the stuff that's in here. Yeah. And then finally, we've got number 5, pretty small. And then here's the map for that. You notice now they've started sticking little snippets, pictures of products that Judges Guild has for sale up alongside the dungeons in these on these pages. Here's another one, pretty darn short and sweet. So that's it. Those are the dungeons they had in there. And again, I think it's because you can get it for such a great price if you go looking for it. I think you should buy it and read it, see what you think of these dungeons. You get a ton of content in there. So now they're going to tell you about the booty list. In case you don't know what a booty list is, it's the list of things they have for sale. And now several numbers are missing. You can start to see the kind of things that they kept on hand to sell multiple copies of, and some of the stuff that sort of faded away or got combined into other things. It's interesting, they note here, even in this printed stuff for sale, they have a thing where they list the issues, the subscriptions, in case you want to buy one you missed. And they call this one the Dragon Crown issue, and say you're going to get the adventure module and Judges Guild Journal, but you didn't, in fact, get that because the Dragon's Crown was not ready for print. Here's just some advertisement. I get myself out of the way. And you can just see the different types of miniatures that they had for sale. Archive miniatures, Garrison miniatures here. Switch over, you get Grenadier, Fantasy Games Unlimited, SPI, Chaosium has some stuff for sale. Der Krieger Spells, Fantastiques, Heritage Models, TSR Hobbies, stuff for sale. Remember, they carried and sold most of their stuff as well. And even a little Tunnels and Trolls stuff from Flying Buffaloes down there too. Here's an advertisement for Games Designers Workshop, and you remember Mark Miller's Traveler game. And here's 1001 characters, a complete 48-page booklet of pre-generated Traveler characters for use in your game. So there's a little product I've never heard of before. And here is the rear cover, and as you can see, he's done the coloring to the black and white drawing. It's pretty funky piece of art. That's our look at Installment U. It came to the subscribers of Judges Guild way back holiday season 1978, early 1979. We continue to take our look at the Judges Guild. I hope you guys are enjoying this series where we look at their products. There's barely scratching the surface here. There's tons and tons more stuff that they put out over the coming 4 years or so before their shop sort of gets shut down. This has been another exciting product, I think, with a really interesting look back at the time that our hobby was in the very, very early days of production. Again, hope you guys enjoyed the series, and I hope you're subscribed. If you have some friends who might be interested in what we're doing, I hope you'll send them our way, and hopefully they can be subscribers as well. Have a great rest of the day, and until next time, my friends, keep rolling 20s.